Do you want to make music like the anime Bocchi The Rock? If you're somehow unfamiliar, the show is about the character Bocchi, who joins the Kessoku Band and starts playing banger music. I'm totally in love with the music from the show, which, like, obviously that's the whole fucking point. So we're gonna try to recreate the style of Kessoku Band. And talk about their guitars, their riffs, but also like their songwriting, their mixing, mastering, all of that stuff. And you can follow along too. All you really need is just a guitar and something to record with. Yeah, let's begin. So open up your DAW, and you want to go for something energetic and upbeat, so we'll set the tempo to something like 170, 180. The music in Bocchi The Rock is very much J-rock, with influences from bands like Kana Boon, and also, of course, Asian Kung Fu generation. So yeah, you have to lock in and get into your J-rock zone. Right, time for guitars. So going over the guitar setup, Bocchi's guitar plays lead, it's a Les Paul and uses humbucker pickups. Kita's guitar plays rhythm, aka the supporting element, and it uses single coil pickups, which is why I'm using my Fender Stratocaster. And they both go through the same gear. They have the Proco Rat pedal for distortion, so we'll use this stupid clone plugin, the Rodent. And Bocchi's guitar also goes through the Boss Blues Driver pedal. They both go to a Marshall JCM 900 amplifier with a 1960 cabinet, and you can use impulse responses for this if you don't have the real stuff. But again, don't worry too much about the technical stuff, like you can just use what you've got and it's gonna be fine. So you want to play a simple bluesy riff on the lead guitar. And some supporting chords on the rhythm guitar. The drums in the intro will go something like... So altogether you want your intro to sound like this. Yeah, totally not ripping off Seishun Complex or anything. And then after all of this tension, you want to kind of make everything explode. So something like... So that was basically a climbing part in the lead guitar. Let's talk about bass. Ryo's bass is running through a MXR bass DI in the show. And again, you can just use plugins to get the sound. You can use a TSE BOD plugin to get the bass overdrive sound. And the intro, you want to slap the bass. And the drum sound, you can use this plugin, the BFD player, which is free and has some alright sounding drums. And you can go into the settings and completely mute the kick and snare, just turn them off because they sound like shit. Instead, you can use some of your own samples. So this is my own kick, and 2 snare samples. Which makes everything sound beefier and more like the Kessoku Band. The verse is kind of the same thing, but you want to switch up and play octaves. And don't forget those crazy, like, lines in between. Which were pretty hard to play, to be honest. The bass can start playing lower notes too, to feel more grounded and like it's moving forward. And can we talk about how Japanese music always has the most cracked bass players? Like, they will do crazy fills all of the time. So yeah, to get that sound, I'm sorry, but you'll have to play out of your fucking mind. And if it's too much, you can use a bass plugin, I won't judge. And the drums can play something more straight. Yeah, do fills and stuff. And for the pre-chorus, you want to bring the energy down. You want to basically edge the audience. For this part, you can turn off the Boss Blues Driver and play something more mellow with the lead guitar. And the rhythm guitar can play some held chords. And you want to do chords with a more happy feeling to contrast the intro's more sad feeling. And then building up to the chorus, you want to have the lead guitar also start playing faster. As I said, you want to just edge the listener. And all of this brings us into the... In the chorus, the rhythm guitar doesn't have to do anything fancy, just bang out some chords. The bass can follow, but still do plenty of fills to keep the momentum going. And the chorus is the highlight, you know, the centerpiece, so make the drums absolutely just explode with energy. And do these like insane fills. And you can play octaves in the lead, almost becoming like a counter melody to the vocals. And in the outro, you want to bring back the riff from the intro to tie everything together. Also very important, you want to have some feedback in the beginning. And that's basically the entire song. Well, almost. You still have to write lyrics. So these fucking lyrics. So if you read Kessoku Band's lyrics, it's always about like how shy you are. The lyrics should also describe the sounds of like of the environment around you, but then goes on to talk about how you play your instrument to break away from the pain, you know, strumming through the distortion or like drumming in a lamenting forte. So my lyrics go for something similar. Of course I gotta mention monster, but basically describing the sounds of the environment. In this case I chose to focus on a traffic jam, but then you talk about your guitar and how you can strum through the noise of everyday life and you feel a crescendo coming, you know. Then what I did was I took every line into Google Translate and because I'm not a native speaker, this probably makes no grammatical sense. And if you speak Japanese, I'm sorry if this is the dumbest lyrics you've ever read. Also, Nichijou mentioned. And it's really up to you how you want to do the vocals. I decided I want to sing them myself, but there was a problem. I'm not a girl, believe it or not, so getting female-sounding vocals was gonna be difficult. So anyway, this is my raw vocal takes with no effects. It's a lead and a harmony. Oh my god, that is so bad, holy fuck. But I knew I was gonna pitch correct my vocals later in New Tone, so after I dragged in the pitch corrected vocals, I used a plugin called Little Alter Boy to increase the pitch by 12 semitones or 1 octave. Now it sounds a bit more like a girl, I guess. Then the vocals have a EQ, a de-esser, 1 compressor, 2 compressor, OTT, decapitator to give it distortion, another de-esser, reverb, and then the same thing on the harmony vocals, and they sound like this. Okay, this is so goofy, like what? Time for the best part of making music, mixing, you know, making sure your tracks don't sound like shit. Kessoku Band almost always has the lead guitar panned slightly to the right and the rhythm guitar panned slightly to the left, so do that. And one thing that I kind of don't like about a lot of anime music is how much they compress everything. Like sometimes it's so loud you can't even tell what's going on. But what's nice is that Bocchi The Rock doesn't really do that. They keep the mixes fairly balanced. So you can use compression, but don't go crazy. I don't want to bore you with the details. Like, it's fairly standard stuff, just a limiter on the master and that's it. So yeah, tell me in the comments what other genres or artists you'd like to see me make videos about, and also comment how goofy the vocals sound. Alright, let's check out the final result.